Creative Katie here. Welcome to my channel and another art journal tutorial. I'm really excited to share this one with you. I loved how it turned out. So I went through my stash and I have a bunch of these papers where I just got out some stencils and I used my modeling paste or drywall paste, and I just stenciled through them, and I have them in my stash. Now the idea behind it, of course, was that I could use it to make it quick and easy to do a page or to do a canvas without dragging out the modeling paste and waiting for this to dry. But to be honest, I've only used that a couple times. So in the spirit of using my stash, I thought, okay, I'm going to use this and I'm just going to rip it. So I'm getting that ripped edge and I'm getting the texture from the texture paste or modeling paste that's on there. And I'm applying this with my gel medium. Now, I must say, it went down really well with the gel medium. So I was happy with the adhesion on there. I was happy with getting the different textures because this is lifted and you've got that added thickness there with the piece of paper. And I will search to see if I can find the link to the video where I show you how I created these in case you just need a little bit of information on that. So I'm just going to putting it down. Now, also, because I'm putting gel medium on top of the modeling paste, it's going to take whatever I put on top, just that little bit different as well. My goal here was to get a lovely textured paste, and you can see how quick this is. There's no cleanup. I don't have to go and stop and clean my stencil because I've done that once. So now I just want to add some stamping, put some interest into the background. And I don't have an idea at this point of where this is going. I just want to create a interesting textured background. So I grabbed this stencil from the Crafter's Workshop. This one's called Happy Dandelions. And I love the floral on here. And I'm just stenciling all over with quinacridone magenta. And I love this, you know, when you look at your stencils, I could use this as a focal point and I would have the flower and the stem and that would be lovely. But I'm using it more just as a motif, as a design feature in my background. And I'm using a couple different sizes of this. I'm spreading it all over. Now I grabbed some phthalo blue, I believe, or it could be turquoise cobalt. And I'm looking for another stencil, and I grabbed this stencil, Fuchsia. It's another Crafter's Workshop one, and I just want the leaf. I figure, okay, you know, it's not really green like the leaves, but I have leaves and I have flowers. And, you know, it's putting me in the mindset of being outdoors. And I really like how these two colors work together. I like the white with the blue and the magenta, and I think I will revisit using these colors together and keeping them more like what you see right here. Just cutting off some of the excess. And I'm adding some script stamp, and I'm just using my archival ink, and archival ink is permanent once it's dry. And since I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I know I'm going to be adding more layers. I don't want this to run. So I am loving the background. I'm thinking maybe a little bit more black there. So I grabbed my gesso. This is a new technique where I'm just taking the palette knife and just scratching on the gesso on top. This is knocking back some of the background as well as adding another component of texture to the page. So it really has knocked it back. So now you don't really see flowers and leaves. And that's okay. Wasn't really using that as the focal image. Again, I'm loving the colors. So I grab my burnt umber and my transparent yellow oxide from and my gloss glazing liquid. And this is again a new technique. I'm not exactly 100% with it yet. I don't know that it's working the way I need it to, and I haven't quite got the right mixture. But you know, when you try a new technique, you've got to do it more than once to really test it out. So here I'm adding more. And I'm painting right over top. Now the idea with the glazing liquid keeps it open for longer times so that you can manipulate the color, you can put it on and take it off and play with it. And here you see me, I'm just grabbing a rag and I'm pulling off some of that. I want to create kind of a vintage look. Again, something new for me. I've dabbled with vintage in the past and I always like the effect, but I always go back to my brights and bolds. So I'm just playing with this, adding a little bit more of the transparent yellow iron oxide to get more of that golden tone. In truth, the background gets a little darker than what I would want. I only own the one brown, so I think I need to go and buy some more browns, especially if I'm going to do more of this vintage look, which I'm absolutely loving. And a lot of these new techniques I've gotten from Shawn Petite, and so check out her channel. So here is some of the loveliness that's created in this background. You can see the texture that I had on those torn pages from my stash, and I love this. So an idea that I had was to collage a butterfly using my gel prints. So I grab a butterfly offline and blow it up to the size that I think is going to be good. And I've cut the wings apart and I'm just tracing. I've picked two different gel prints and I've picked colors that I use in the background. So I've kind of got that magenta and I've kind of got that blue in there. They're very bright and bold, and I'm thinking that's going to look really nice on this neutralized background. So I can't get rid of the brights and bolds just yet. So I'm just, putting it on and I'm trying some of my different gel prints and I grab out. Now people have seen me do the gel prints and they're always asking, well, what do you do with these papers? This is what you can do. Once you have them, you can just flip through your stash and inevitably find something that's going to work together. Now this one right here, this blue one, is actually a print that I made from a gel print that I've made that I really loved and I wanted more of. So you can do that option. You can take pictures of it or you can scan it with a scanner, and if you've got a laser printer, color printer, you can do that. So right now I'm just so happy because I've wanted to do a collage butterfly like this for the longest time. It just never quite fell together. And here it is, just really coming together wonderfully well. Now, if you don't have gel prints that you can do, you can take the time and just do a collage paper in the colors that you want. Or you could start with the collage papers and say if it was red and yellow, and then those are the colors that you would put in the background. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the orientation I want, so I grab my charcoal, my woodless charcoal pencil, and I'm just darkening up the edges just to frame this page to give me an idea about the orientation and what I want to do here. So I'm still, do I want the butterfly flying up? Do I want the butterfly flying down? And I'm trying both ways. And what you don't see me doing here is I do take pictures and then I stop, maybe have a cup of tea and then I look at the pictures. Give it some time. So if you're unsure about what your next step is, don't be afraid to give it some time. So I decide that I want to add some black splatters, and that's because the center of the butterfly is going to be black, the edges are going to be black, and the letters are black. So that's what I thought I would do here. So you see the stenciling in the background, it doesn't have to be those specific stencils. It could be any shape or any stencil because you're not looking for a crisp, clear picture. And then I'm going to spray with gold. Now I have some black that's wet that I've thinned down in the container, and as well as gold. I also have white that I use for splatters because I'm doing, right now I'm on a roll and I'm doing a lot of splattering. So I just mixed it up, and every once in a while I just give it a little bit more water, and that just keeps it the consistency. I decided I didn't want the white behind the lettering. I had fussy cutted these out a little bit to get rid of most of the white, but it still just didn't seem to go on this very vintage looking page. So, I have sepia archival that I'm putting on there, and then I come back over with the transparent yellow iron oxide that I have in the background, just to bring it all together. But I could have splattered with white and then maybe left the little bit of white around them. That would make it all work together as well. I love this quote, "Nothing changes if nothing changes." I find that very inspirational, and I'm just so thrilled with how this page turned out. I think this is going to end up being a class that I'm going to teach and do this on a canvas or on a cradled wood panel. And the variations of this, are as varied as the gel prints that you may own. And if you gel print at all, you have tons of them. If you want to see how I created these gel prints, I have an entire playlist of gel prints that you can watch me doing. I even have a series of 5 where it's more instructional and it's slower pace, and I use a lot of found items in the home, and I use them in my gel prints, which I must say are some of my favorite gel prints, the ones that use the blue bin recyclable, the stuff from the kitchen. This will not be the last collaged butterfly. I can pretty much guarantee you that. Now, because I use the gloss glazing liquid, I really wasn't happy. I didn't like the gloss look, so I put a coat of matte medium on there. I just brushed it all over the place. Now I wanted, some of my script disappeared, got pushed back, and I wanted a little bit more forward, so I'm coming back with the archival ink and my script stamp, and I'll put a link to it and any of the stencils that I've used in the description box below. Now, in order to make this butterfly stand out from the background, I am going to do some shading, and I am using my angle brush, and I am using the floating acrylic technique. And I will put a link to that video. You had asked me to make a specific technique tutorial video of that technique, and it is there. And there I take the time to demo exactly how to practice and learn this technique, which comes in so handy. Now here I'm shading on the inside on the paper. You could also shade on the outside where your brush is on the background, or you could do both. And at different times I do one or the other or both. But you can just see how this little addition right here added so much. Don't have an angle brush, you can use a regular flat brush to do the same technique. That's what I learned on actually, but I do find the angle brush a little easier. Or you don't want to do with the float technique, you can use your Stabilo All pencil, you can use the charcoal pencil. It's just if you were going to varnish this, then you would need to use a spray fixative or a spray varnish instead of a varnish that you paint on, brush on. So I'm adding a little bit darker around the edges as well, using the float technique, just because I want it a little bit darker. Now that everything else is done, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Give me your comments about vintage or with the neutral background. What new technique have you tried? Leave me a comment. Have some creative friends? Share this video with them. And if you want to be notified of when I've uploaded a new video, so you're sure not to miss it, click on the bell and select that option. As always, thank you for shopping through my Amazon links. Thank you for watching. Stay till the end. I've also got some end cards, which are suggestions that are in some way related to this project. I'm pulling off the tape to reveal a nice clean edge. Just adding in the antenna with my micron pen. I hope you love this one as much as I do. Bye for now.